The lost treasure of the Knights Templar and pirates buried gold deep underground, and the Vikings sailed there before Columbus, according to legend. However, new evidence suggests that the Romans may have also been on Oak Island. The search for these artifacts was difficult and nearly cost a man his life. One of the biggest mysteries of all is Bole 10X, a deep, dangerous, water-filled shaft that has been the focus of treasure hunters for decades. 80s Dan Blanken's ship is one of Oak Island's most devoted. Because borehole 10X is 235 feet deep and begins with a 181-foot vertical drop through a reinforced steel and concrete shaft, it was not an easy excavation, despite searchers' belief that it could lead to whatever was very deep down. Narrows into a tunnel that is barely 27 inches wide, 44 tons long, and completely obscured by murky water with no light. Two professional divers, Harvey Morash and Michael Gartz, were brought in to investigate 10X by the Lagena brothers. They were aware of the risks but were unprepared for what transpired. Michael would act as a safety diver while Harvey descended, and the crew on the surface would stay in touch through an underwater communication system. However, things started to fall apart a few minutes into the dive with no signal or voice. The team on the surface had no idea if Michael was safe, and they tried to call his name but could not find him. In summary, Oak Island has been a mystery for centuries, with legends suggesting Vikings sailed there before Columbus, the lost treasure of the Knights Templar, and that some ancient mines contain naturally occurring zinc that could have been converted into Roman bronze through natural processes. A new knowledge of early transatlantic migration and the history of the island of the Oak Island sword has resulted from the team's efforts to determine whether the sword was actually ancient. In the history of the island, discovery has generated debate. While some experts contend that it is a contemporary fake or the result of 19th century craftsmanship, others think that because of its distinctive metal composition at discovery, it may be a real ancient item. For more than 2 centuries, Oak Island has teased history buffs and treasure hunters with various finds that seem to contradict this. For instance, Roman-style crossbow bolts that matched the design of bolts used by the Roman soldiers were discovered on the island. Some contend that they came via trade routes much later in history, maybe during the era of European exploration. Others propose that this could indicate that the Romans or someone with a weapon came to this region of the world much before the Vikings or Columbus. Researchers continue to debate the famous lead cross found at Smith's Cove. One theory suggests it may be even older, possibly dating back to the Roman era, while another links it to the Knights Templar, a mysterious order that allegedly traveled across the Atlantic to Huns, where every piece had a place. The connections between the swamp, the garden shaft, and the hidden road appeared to be linked. However, the most important aspect that they were still missing was that they did not fully understand the tunnels, wooden structures, and odd arrangement of the swamp. All of these elements pointed towards something that was more than just pieces of wood or random artifacts. Upon embarking on a treasure search, Rick and his team came to the realization that the Money Pit was not merely a simple quest, but rather a war against time, nature, and an unknown power. The Money Pit had always been known for its hidden treasures and daring exploits, but now they discovered something darker and more mysterious within it. As they dug deeper, they encountered objects and structures that didn't fit with the area's known history. The team often discussed the day's finds with a mix of excitement and apprehension theories as they pondered the origins of the road and the purpose of the hidden structures. As a result of the hard weather conditions and the challenging terrain, the stakes became higher, and the looming sense of messing with things that should be kept untouched added to the weight of their work. In 2006, Rick and his brother Marty purchased 50% of Oak Island Tours Inc., the company that owned the majority of the island. Rick's childhood fantasy led him to become a treasure hunter, and his passion for history and the desire to learn more about the past never left him. He wanted to do things the right way, no shortcuts and no reckless movements. This wasn't just about finding riches. It was about comprehending the past and piecing together a forgotten story. Rick tackled the hunt with resolve and a sense of determination that had been building for decades. He wanted to do things the right way. Rick's perseverance paid off gradually, and with each newly discovered piece of information, they were drawn further into the complicated and lengthy history of Oak Island. Rick Lagena and his team driven by passion and a deep love for dollars. After 10 episodes on Gold Rush, Parker has saved up a dime wealth, which is thought to be around $10 million. He's not going to slow down anytime soon. However, the miner has found more than just gold in the fields. He told them about some other strange things he had seen on his trips. There is a lot of stuff buried here. There's a good chance that miners have found some strange things on their trips. Parker doesn't find gold, but he does find something that many archaeologists would love. In an interview with the Maelstrom, he talked about the strange thing he found while mining for gold and how it might be the most important thing he had that wasn't gold. It was interesting that he told them he had found a pair of well-preserved woolly mammoth teeth. These tusks are very well preserved because they are made of ivory and were buried in permafrost, which kept them safe from the cold weather. Some of them were found in perfect shape, even though woolly mammoths went extinct a very long time ago. Finding fossils of preserved bodies makes us think about what makes a thing. Alaska is a place where mammogram tusks are sometimes found. They have a lot of value and help an industry grow. Because these tusks are made of ivory, they can be very valuable if they are kept in good shape. In some cases, they can sell for more than $1 million each. Parker and his team on Gold Rush might not find anything more valuable than gold, but mammoth tusks are definitely among the most expensive things that have ever been found. To make a long story short, the mammoth tusks he found would be worth a lot of money, because people are willing to buy almost anything. But Schnabel says he won't sell the tusks, even the biggest gold nugget that has ever been found. We saw that he was half a world away from the Klondike Gold Rush Trail in Season 4, Episode 2 called Installment of Gold Rush Parker's Trail. He was looking for new experiences and chances. At the start of the show, Parker and his partner Fred Lewis were greeted by Tyler Mahoney, a fourth-generation Australian gold prospector. She opened her truck door and put a 2-foot-long golden boulder across the back seat. A story says that the welcome stranger was so big that it had to be broken in 3 on a hammer so that it could fit on a bank scale. The nugget would be worth about $4.7 million if it were sold today at the rate at which Hold is sold. The original welcome stranger was turned into gold bars a long time ago, but 2 perfect copies are still around. 2 of them are on show in Melbourne's old Treasury building. One is owned by Deason's descendants and is kept there. The one that was taken from Mahoney's truck is thought to belong to the Deason family. And column built in 1897 still stands in Mulyagle to mark the spot where the nugget was found. Parker and no other modern gold miner found it, so the question is, who made this huge find that even Parker couldn't believe it? The Victorian